Hi everyone, welcome to LessonPix Show and Tell number 7. We have a fantastic set of guests for you tonight. Unfortunately, we have had a horrible technology day. It does happen to everybody. We have managed to salvage all of the audio, most of the video from our show this evening. After all the Facebook problems and Zoom problems and microphone problems, we do have a fabulous set of content that is not the best video we've ever produced. So if you see it cutting to a still screen of Lori and I, or even a camera screen, that's what that is. But it is very important that we get this out because the content tonight was wonderful. Thank you to Brenda, Juanita, and Tali for joining us, and I hope you all enjoy. Hi, everybody. Welcome to LessonPix Show and Tell number 7, try number 5.
Yes, it's been a
rough day.
start.
We have a problem with Zoom not publishing to Facebook and dropping our stream. We will yell at them later, but for you guys, hopefully you're joining us live on Zoom. I have posted a link on Facebook, and I do see we have some attendees who've joined us, which is awesome. And for those of you who are attending, this is a little bit better because we can actually turn on your mic if you've got a question to ask.
Hey.
And maybe this will be a little better at the end. We will publish this on Facebook at the end of the night, after a little bit of editing probably, just to cut off all the crud that just happened. We have a fantastic show, so we are going to go forward with this because we're not going to let these guests go.
These are some power users
These are
here. Can't let them
awesome guests. So we've got 3 guests with us. We have Tali Kellerstein, who is one of our most prolific sharers in the Sharing Center. We have Juanita Pritchard, who's been with us from the beginning up in Atlanta. And right now we've got Brenda Hegel, and she's going to join us from Clark County, Georgia, and show us what she's making with LessonPix. So let's jump to that. Brenda, can you join us?
Hi.
Hi,
Yay.
Brenda.
I'm so glad this part's working well. We can see, and you can see you fine. We can hear you fine. It's great. So let me go ahead and turn off our camera.
All
You can
right.
still hear us, and we'll be nice. And we'd love to see what you've got.
All right. Well, the first thing that I thought I would show, is that a good way to hold it up?
Yep, it looks great.
I can see
Okay. Are just some simple minimal pair pages that I made for, therapy, and then they're easy to send home. And I'm showing it just because it's so easy just to pull up the words and make minimal pairs with them.
And you use the minimal pairs tool for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's under the green tab. It's underneath the language tab, and the sound finder and other tools tab. And yeah, so we've got a minimal pairs tool that searches by example and made that real easy for you, right?
Yes.
You didn't have to remember your IPA,
No.
but I'm sure you do remember your IPA.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no quiz. It's okay.
All right, good. And then I made really easy antonyms for some of my students.
And those narrow and wide, those were all ours, right? You didn't modify those, did you?
No.
Nope, those are all yours.
Awesome. Those are great. You see position Pete's in there. We
Yeah.
like him.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It was just nice to be able to pull up
Quickly, yeah.
I like how
quickly, make my pages, print them out, and they're good to go. And I love that. This was a fun activity that I just did last week. So I had students in my low incidence disabilities classes go on a field trip on Monday, and I joined them for some of the time and took pictures of real items that were on their field trip. And that is one of my favorite things about LessonPix, is being able to take real pictures and incorporate them into my lessons, and pictures of my students. So I have quite a few lessons with pictures of my students in them, but of course I can't show that.
Gotcha. You can, yeah, absolutely. And you can't share anything with private pictures in the sharing center, but I'm glad you're sharing those you can here. Now, you made round cards. Did you use our buttons?
I used whatever I learned in a video clip that I watched that you guys had posted before. So
Yeah, it's the AC buttons. Yeah.
I'm pretty new to LessonPix, so I'm still just familiarizing myself with all the different resources and stuff. But I like that I could use the core vocabulary pictures that we're using in our district, and then I made a T chart with I like, and then I do not like.
Hey, very good. Very good.
Is
Love
that
it.
a flannel?
And then we went around to each of our students, and then they could choose what they liked and didn't like from this activity. And then on Friday, I bought a whole bunch of different ingredients to make nachos, and then they could choose what they liked and didn't like on their nachos, and then they could
Perfect.
build their nachos. So that was really fun.
Do you have a low vision kids? Why the black background, or is that just the felt you had?
Oh, that is just a piece of that carpet square. So it was just really easy just to put Velcro on one side and put them on the carpet
Oh,
square.
very cool. On the carpet square.
And just taped blue tape on the square.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
perfect.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. We have lots of carpet squares here, actually.
We
Our
sure
whole,
do.
all of our floor is carpet squares. We have lots of leftovers.
It was really handy too, because I could just take them off and do a different lesson, and we could put their pictures up here if they wanted to, and you could do a lot of compare and contrast with higher level students. But all of these students are nonverbal for the most part, so they could choose what they wanted, and plus they're learning their core vocabulary.
Perfect.
I used the tab and flap cards just a little bit. So this is one for I will not pick my nose.
Very nice.
So I made all the pages for that, and then
I love that picture.
final product is the tab and flap
That's
card.
beautiful.
Oh, look how
Love
good
it.
that looks.
That looks
Yeah,
great.
the
Looks like you
teachers
bought
love
that.
Sorry?
It looks like you bought that.
I know. And I could take, really easy to print out multiple copies. So a copy can go home, a copy can go to the teacher. I can keep a copy in the therapy room. And so it's nice, and the students like it. It's kind of a fun way to work on something that's kind of difficult for a lot of our students. And just thinking about another type of client, one that's just on some RTI services for using full breath support in the classroom. I gave this to the teacher, I gave it to the intervention specialist, and so they could have some nice visuals for just helping her remember to take full breaths when speaking.
Did you share that in the sharing center?
I think I did.
That's
It's really cute.
good.
And did
If
you make
not,
the mouse?
I'll make sure. Sorry?
Did you make the mouse? The no mice?
No mouse voice.
I think I must have. I think I did. And I'm just starting to learn to use some of your symbols. I can't remember if I actually made it or if it was in there, but I think I made it.
Okay,
It's the
very
symbol
good.
combiner.
It's got to be the symbol builder. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. I loved this because I didn't have a lot of great he, she, is verbing sentences for some of my students. So it was really easy just to take the pictures, write my sentences in, print it out, and we're good to go.
Yeah, and they shrink as you need them to, right?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Really handy.
Very cool.
Then I used this, I don't know the name of it, but to make a little story.
It's books and stories.
Stories, okay.
Yeah.
For one of my students for using a nice tone of voice, an expected tone of voice in the classroom. What I really love about LessonPix 2 is that you can change the skin tone, you can change the hair color, you can add color to the arrows.
Right.
You know, you don't want red. You don't want a harsh voice coming out of your mouth because it gives people red thoughts about what you're
Oh, look
saying.
at that.
Oh,
And you got a green one then, don't you? Look at that.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's a great idea.
And then just always thinking about what others are thinking about you. So I just love that you can customize it so much for your
That
students.
is great. That is great. And you made the
And then I made the little book that follows.
Did you share that in the sharing center?
I'm pretty sure. I think everything I grabbed, I've shared. If
excellent.
not, I can check tomorrow and make sure tonight.
Because we're doing a social skills group, and that is a perfect book for me
Absolutely.
to use. I'm already applying it to my practice.
Yeah, right.
You'll see a lot of what I've made are for my kids working on social thinking, social
very good.
type
Yeah.
issues. So I love it because it's a really quick way to make my stories. I like this too because it can give them a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 idea
Six.
for keeping
Six up there too.
themselves.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
And that was the scales and ratings template.
yeah, it's been fun to go in and see what's in there and how, so I have an idea and then I can go in and decide which template works best for.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then same sort of idea for positive self-talk.
Yeah.
The pictures and thinking about others.
Very good.
Same idea for I can walk in line. And then the last thing I actually have to share is just another booklet that I made, but I printed it on the big paper for I will keep swear words in my head.
Okay.
And again, being able to change the hair tone to match the student, skin color, things like that. And I'll just flip to a couple of the pages again.
Right.
And then I did fill in the thought bubbles again for
Red thoughts.
red thoughts versus green thoughts. And then, sorry, I'm having difficulty flipping, holding it up, thinking about what kind of thoughts I want people to have about me. I don't want them to have red thoughts. So I will breathe in quickly. So some of them I just modified, but I wonder if with some of your new
There's arrows. Oh, you put the arrows on them. Yeah.
put the arrows on, but do you guys have that ability now to?
Well, there are arrows. There are arrows in the sharing center. There are arrows that you can search for and add.
Okay.
You have to erase the lines first.
That's there.
So I'll tell you what, I'll give it a try and see how I would do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Or
Big
that
hold it.
picture might get added to the
You never know.
library.
You never know. That guy's holding his breath.
Holding the swear words in his head.
Oh yeah. Oh look at they're up in the corner.
That.
I just
Very nice.
that in. So it's not all finished, but then when I go to, the idea is finished, but when I go in and work with the student, then I can draw and as we're talking and then
Right.
Nice.
Right.
if it's a pretty high level student, then I add the perspective taking and that's called theory of mind. And so you can add, and just as you're working in therapy and maybe give them a little bit more buy-in.
Very cool.
Only let the green
Right.
words come out of your mouth. And then working on different words so that people have green thoughts.
Very nice.
I can build, I'm thinking about what other people think, and then I can build friendships with other people.
That's great.
Yeah, it's been a handy book, and again, just being able to print out lots of copies for teachers and parents and to have in therapy.
Excellent. That is phenomenal. So thank you. That was great. And you did it under duress with all the stress of the technology stuff. You're doing great. Your technology's working and everything. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
So many people to say, hey, check this out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have some people joining us now under the attendees. So they're obviously getting the link on Facebook. So welcome to those of you who are just joining. Feel free to type questions in the Q&A area or in the web chat. I will watch both of them and forward them in. We may have a Q&A at the end, but we're running so late we might not. We'll see.
There you go. It is
I just want to say thanks to everybody else who has shared too, because it's been really nice to go in and find ideas, and you can tweak ideas, and that's been really.
I'm glad you like it. And so how long have you been working with LessonPix?
Since September.
Sometime in August. Is that when Clark signed up, or did they have it last year too?
I'm new to Clark County, so I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Very good. And you're a speech path, obviously.
Yes.
Working in what ages?
I have pre-K through 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay, good luck. That's a broad range. That's great. That is awesome. Well, if you wouldn't mind sticking around while the others chat, and then we can do a wrap up at the end. If you need to bail, you're welcome to. But thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Brenda, that was great.
That was great. All right, Juanita Pritchard, how are you?
I think I'm good.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
So it's good to see you. I've met you many, many times. So every year I go up
Following
to
you
Atlanta.
around.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
I am doing great.
And you are in Greater Atlanta. And
I am the metro area. I'm actually a private consultant now. I retired after 35 years. and
awesome. Congratulations.
A lot of what I do is making materials. That's why I love you guys so much. Makes my life easy.
Awesome. Well, let's see some of your stuff. We'll turn off our camera and let you have the floor.
So because I'm a teacher in the classroom working mostly with intellectually disabled students, I try to use the actual materials they're using, which often are adapted books from the DOE. And so I upload a lot of the pictures rather than use the ones you have so that they're all the same.
Yep.
And so I'm going to show some materials. I know this is backwards, but this is an adapted book on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, and it doesn't look
And I
backwards to us. It's only backwards to you, sweetie.
Just to me. Okay. So these are the big stick puppets.
Right. Very good.
Have the page actually has an identifying the character or introducing the characters. So I make these, and then I have those, and I hope I can flip to one. And then I actually put them in the books so that we can,
Excellent.
after reading it, we can talk about them. And I also give them to the students. And I was loving her talking about the carpet squares, because I don't buy soft Velcro anymore. That's what I use, is I just cut up those carpet squares. These are craft sticks and the small puppets, stick puppets. And so all the students will have them. And this is a pool noodle.
Oh, look at
cut up,
that.
and all of the characters, you know, they can have
Look at
That's
that.
awesome.
to work with. And pool noodles are awesome. If you need them, get them real quick, because after June, they're gone.
Well, we live in Florida. We can get them year round.
There you go. And so the other thing I love that you guys did was the flashcards.
Yep.
I forget magic something. I can't remember.
Magic index cards.
And so these are obviously not all the characters from that story, but what I've mixed in are things from other stories we've read.
Right.
And we do an activity, and pull it up here. And we talk about what's in the story and what's not in the story.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
That's
And
very
so
good.
they can look at the character, and we can talk about it. We can flip back through the book, and this is not in the story. And we can then find somebody that was in the story. And so this works out really well. They really like the flashcards. And I just love being able to print off a gazillion of those at one time.
And Juanita, those are the 4x6 index cards, correct?
Yes.
And so they
Yes.
print without having to cut them. They just pop out.
You just print them out. They're awesome. They come out this size.
Right.
I love them. They're just the perfect size, you know, for the kids to have. And I've put sentiment on them. We've used them for writing and that kind of thing. But for this book, this is what we used them for. And then also we did a similar activity. I did the same characters and things out of the book on the picture cards, the really small picture cards.
Right.
And this, again, this is that carpet cut up. And so we can look at, was Captain Cook in this story? And it wasn't, it was a Mr. Popper's Penguin. So it goes over here. So they can just go through each of the things and decide, was it in the story or not? And then we can go back to the story and see if they're right.
Right. And that's a
But
sorting map.
I like
there,
this.
right?
Yeah, this is the sorting map.
Very nice.
That works out really well. And I always put Velcro and something for them to stick to. The kids I work with, when they sort, they tend to bump it and everything goes flying. So this is just a quick, easy way to do that with them.
Very cool.
For those, and I try to get things that we know for sure weren't in the story, and then some that are a little closer. The other thing I love and I use all the time are the dice that you have. So you can see I've got all the characters that we've been talking about on here, and I can use this for a lot of games that are in there. And I do bingo with everything, and I'm not even going to show that because I know that's an easy one for people to do, but I do bingo. And then I take the calling cards and hot glue them to bottle caps so that they can pick them up. They're easy to grab and move around. But they also make a really cool noise when you put them in the jar to shake them.
Yeah.
And that works out really well.
Oh, my kids
The
would
other
love
thing, I've got one thing I for sure want to show you, because I loved the things that Brenda showed about the writing with the core vocabulary, because that's something that we're all working on. And as an old teacher, they didn't teach us that, so I'm learning this also. And so I used the 4. I think this is a scheduling card.
Yeah.
And I used 4 pieces, and I put in, this one's Dr. Jekyll is, and I made one with each of the characters. And so we're going to talk about a picture. And in this picture, and this is your basket. This is LessonPix basket, but I had to use paint to help me get him inside. You might have to help me with that. But so I want to know if he is in or not in the basket. And this is a cheese board from Dollar Tree with the carpet on it.
Look at that.
So we're doing in or not in, and once they decide, then we can put it in the sentence. You know, Dr. Jekyll's in, but what's he in? And then I have printed those off again on the small picture card, and they can pick he's in the basket. And this is a gardening kneeling pad from Dollar Tree. And they're really nice because they're really soft. So if somebody gets whacked with them, they're great. But so they picked the basket, and then we've written a sentence. So we've got Dr. Jekyll is in the basket. And then I have used a variety of containers, and I picked ones that I can actually have, you know, that I can actually put Dr. Jekyll in a grocery bag in the container if we need to look at that. Turn him around where you can see him. We've got him, you know, not in the jar and then in the jar.
Gotcha.
So these are the ones I'm picking. And this is a cookie sheet with the carpet on the back, and then I can use this side with magnets.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, did you make all those in the symbol builder, or did you use the paint for those as well?
The ones where he's in, I had to use paint. I just made 2 of them and glued one on top. I tried the symbol builder, and that's I could do it with these, but I couldn't get him in. He looked like
I understand what you mean. You'd have to cut him off, right?
The jar I used symbol builder.
Yeah.
He was in there, but when I did this, he didn't look like he was really in there.
Gotcha. Well, that's also why we let you export it in any other format, right? So if you need to use another tool, you can, right?
Yeah, and that was awesome doing that. They really, that worked really well. And I figured there probably was a way to get him in there, but I didn't know. The other thing, I work mostly with middle and high school, which is why we're doing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And there's tons of awesome stuff on your site, but not a lot of it's geared towards what the books and things that they're reading at high school. Yep. But they love these I have, who has cards.
Yep.
Absolutely love these. And I just put in, you know, once I load that tray, everything's there, and I can make all of these in 2 seconds flat. You know, so we always do the I have, who has cards. I always do put the things in, we count, the counting cards. And what I've found with some of my students who really don't count, but want to do the activity, I will highlight the right answer, or for some of them, I put it on the right answer and they just have to take it off. Gotcha. But the kids who can't count don't like getting left out. They want to do the same activity. And then this time I hadn't tried these before, but this is that same.
Right, the new ones.
Yeah, and I put the character and then their names at the bottom.
Gotcha.
So they have to, you know, figure out who that is. And this was really interesting. Is there a way to only do 2 circles or make one of them blank?
No, but you could have a blank in there.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you could put the same one twice, or you could leave one blank, right? But yeah, I don't think so.
Then the other thing that I use a lot are the playing cards. They really like that, and they like this one in particular because it looks like Uno. Right. And some of the other ones, you know, they'll say, well, I don't want to do baby stuff. Yeah. And I use them sometimes for playing games, but sometimes I'll just have them match colors. Right. And sometimes I'll make them find the same character in a different color. And again, the pool noodle works great for that. If you've got those kids who can't hold their cards.
Especially if you laminate them like that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And that works really nice.
So that's really good feedback for us, because we might need to add some card templates that aren't that are more like the Uno ones, or more adult. Maybe make one that looks like Trivial Pursuit or something with a border. We did just add the ones that look like real cards, right? Did you see those that look like playing
Right,
cards?
yeah.
Those
Yeah,
might
and
work
I
with your
haven't-
kids as well.
I just haven't had a chance to try those yet.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The same thing with the game board. This is the only one you've got that kind of looks more
Adult.
Nice, not Candyland.
adultish.
Right.
And a lot of times I use the dice with this one, but I just make 2 boards and cut out the pictures. I know I can make them out of those others, but it's just easy.
They'll be the right
I know
size.
they
this way.
always match. I know
Yeah.
there's the right number. I used to try to do them in the picture, and I'd end up with short somebody. This one works great. So that we can either do it where they get a card and they have to find it, or they roll the dice and they have to find the character and move it off. Most of the kids I work with don't do well with a game board where the pieces move, because they knock them around and they just don't stay very well. But they like this being in a game format, because they still feel like they're getting to the end. So I really like that one. And I do the I think it's a semantics map
Yep.
is what that one is.
Semantic
There's
maps.
usually
Yep.
pictures. These I do usually blank, and then I can use the pictures from my other activities to go in here.
Perfect.
Or I can't get down to it, but I put these pictures in the book. So if the student has this, then when we come to the book where this is in the book, they can pull it out and put it on there.
Very good.
Nice.
So
Yep,
they're
that's great.
actually,
Reading.
they're not just doing it from memory, but they're actually pulling the pieces in from the book. And so then they can, when we're talking about it, it's something they've done instead of something I've told them to do.
Perfect.
And
And the last one I'll show you is, what?
it highlights that this is important to the story.
Yes.
You're
Yes, and it lets
like
them,
note taking.
participate with that too.
Exactly.
This one is I think the bingo dauber
Right.
thing. And I usually, 5 is like the number that I use for almost everything with the level students I'm working with. And so sometimes I do it this way, where the picture's on there and I just print 2 and they can match them as we do an activity or talk about them. And sometimes I have a student that this is too low for, and I just use your more circles, but still leave them blank.
Gotcha.
So they're still just focusing on those 5, but they still have to find them, be
Gotcha.
intentional in what they're doing. But they really like this one. So a
Very
lot of
cool.
times I'll use that as the reinforcer while we're doing the lessons. You know, if you finish this task, you get one of them, and everybody who gets all the characters, we do something special. It's pretty motivating. They really like that.
Cool. So I have a question for you from the
Yes.
audience, actually, and also somebody says hi, Juanita, Nancy Lamb. You probably know her.
Okay.
She says, "Where did you
Yes,
get the carpet?"
Oh, she knows. This is Dollar Tree carpet.
Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree. And this whole big piece is $1. And
Wow.
if you cut a strip, like I use this for soft Velcro, it's ridged. I don't know if you can tell, but it's ridged.
Yeah.
And the ridge is what Velcro sticks to. And
Perfect.
so you can cut it in any shape, and it's real pliable. I cut it the size of a page, and you can punch holes in it and put it in a notebook to keep up with your pieces. You know, it really is cool. This was one of the best things somebody ever showed me.
That's really great.
Because
I haven't seen it.
$1 beats that $25 roll of Velcro.
That's right. Absolutely. All right.
And
So we have some other folks who love you. Cindy says hi. Nancy says hi. So you've got a fan club here.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
good that
appreciate it.
people got on.
Yeah, these are all people who can join us. Absolutely. So thank you. Yeah. So can you stay with us till the end to wrap up?
Yeah.
Excellent. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Juanita, for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you the next time I'm up in Atlanta.
Boy, I would go to one of her make and takes
Yeah,
any day.
I'm sure she's got a professional development day. You can go sit in. I bet they'd let you.
Might sneak in.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of great ideas
Right.
there.
And I happen to know that our last guest kind of rocks that way too.
This is
So
a good one.
this is a good show. And the fact that we're not live on Facebook is killing me a little bit.
That's okay.
That's okay. All right. So our last guest is Tali Kellerstein, I think. She'll correct me in a minute.
Kellerstein, you're right.
I'm right. Kellerstein. Hi, Tali. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We are good. Other than our technology problems, we are doing great. So thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here. Welcome to the Speak Boutique.
That's right. Absolutely. So Tali's been with us forever. You've been with us since like the very beginning. And I don't think I think we met once at Asha, not many times, right?
No, we've never met in person, but I harass you all the time on Facebook.
So she's also one of our most prolific sharers. So anytime she wants to come on, you are always welcome. I think she is fourth. And I think almost everybody else is an employee
Wow.
that has shared more than Tali. I looked it up this afternoon because I thought I should know the answer to that. She shared hundreds of things. We will include the link to your sharing page, Speech Boutique page on LessonPix Sharing Center in the final Facebook link that actually works. We will put your link to your page. So thank you. I'm going to turn off our camera and invite you to share whatever you'd like.
Sure. So I have a little private practice from my basement. So welcome to my basement. And I see predominantly kids who are working on motor speech or articulation issues. And so a lot of the materials I make need tons of repetitions of sounds. So I'll show you some of my favorite things. Large and small is something I use all the time. And most of my therapy sessions are based around a book. So usually I'll pick a story that we read for my motor speech kids with a lot of repetition, and then do a craft that goes with that particular story. So the book that I was working on a couple of weeks ago was Elmo's Boo Boo book. And in this book, Elmo gets a boo-boo. We put on a Band-Aid for him, and various of his friends have different injuries, and use the symbol builder in your large and small to make a few kids with boo-boos that match the ones in the book.
That is
and
awesome.
remedies that go with it. I love the symbol builder.
Yeah, you're making amazing stuff because like his lunch is over to the right. It's a Happy Meal, and he must be hungry, right?
Yeah, I think he has his stomach ache. Yeah, he ate too much.
He ate too much McDonald's. Gotcha. And they got a boo-boo because she fell off. One of them fell off their bike and hurt her elbow.
Got some mosquitoes who bit her foot over here, so she's going to need some ointment. And the kids will be familiar with them because we will have read the book, so they'll know. They'll know the thing. I mean, the truth is, it doesn't really matter the kind of doctors they are right now. I just need them to say "ow" and "boo boo" over and over. But I love the symbol builder and love the repetition that we get in this kind of craft. All of my large and smalls, I use the sticky tack so that kids can then redo them at home and get the repetitive practice over and over, or repositionable glue also works really well.
Right. That's the stuff that, you probably know her too.
She's talking ticky tack.
Oh, you're talking about poster tack stuff.
Yeah.
Not that,
stuff.
what's that stuff that,
I don't remember. Spice
Fine
Scotch.
Motor Boot Camp.
Is it Scotch restickable?
The Scotch restickable stuff. It was really cool. You should check out one of our earlier videos. What's her name? Her sister's name's Emily. What's her name?
I just watched it today, but I don't remember her name.
Julie Marzano. Thank you. Julie Marzano showed us exactly this Scotch stuff, which was amazing. And that would work for that too.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. Then the next one I wanted to show you was, this is your cutting lines template,
Yes,
and I don't use it for cutting lines.
it's okay.
So I have here, so what I usually use this for is for sounds that I want kids to stretch out and say slower. So in this case, we're stretching out the S to get an S blend. So I'd have the kid trace over the line, spot to get that S blend, or spin to get the S blend on spin, or spy for the word spy. And then I have a magnet here attached.
Oh, look at that.
You see where this is going? And then we can also drag over whatever magnet you like and make it a little more fun and engaging.
So cute.
If my kid's old enough, I do give them a magnet home, but you have to make sure they won't.
You did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would probably be easier to do if you weren't trying to keep it on camera.
Correct. Yeah, when it's laying flat on the table, that's much easier.
Gotcha.
But I got my best magnet for you guys today.
We just added some things to that particular template. Did you see we made the wider tracks?
I did. Oh, yeah. And then I saw that you can do a whole line or a dotted line as well. I don't know if that's new.
Yeah.
But I did notice.
Yep.
And I use Tali's a lot. I have there's certain parts that are staples to my therapy. I'm sure everybody has routines that they like. And for me, I often start with a drill. Then we do our book, our craft, and a game. And the drill for me will often be a Tali. And I wanted to point out this one because sometimes I work with some kids in Russian, and I love that we can use Google Translate for your words. Right. So I just wanted to show this one that I have. This one was for working on the medial R. It's a trill R in Russian. So we have more for sea and nora for a mouse hole. And it was great that I could just type them in. Google Translate did it, and all of a sudden I have Russian letters in them. For if you're struggling, like sometimes the Google Translate's not quite right, you can go into just regular Google, cut and paste the letters and put them in, and it works on your system, which has been fantastic for me. And our next one is, like I said, I do a lot of story-based therapy. And so sometimes, especially as I'm wanting kids to say more sentences or retell stories or use their sounds in longer sentences, I do a lot of work where we're retelling stories. And I use your book template, the books and stories template a lot.
Yep.
I like the 4-page because it just uses less paper than half a page. I'm printing less, but it works really well. And then I put, this is a craft I made for Wemberley's Ice Cream Star. Fantastic for a lot of S blends. She tries to make, she wants to have ice cream. It turns into soup. So you get like spill and soup and spoon and ice cream, lots and lots of S's in this book. And so then I made the pictures that go with it. And I basically cut out the book before the kids come, and with me, they put the pictures on again with the sticky tack so that then they can redo it at home and retell the story for their homework. But it was fabulous, the symbol builder that let me duplicate the book, quite closely. I could give the little mouse a dress so she looks like Wemberley. I could make her kitchen and put Wemberley and her friend in there. So it was fabulous.
I believe I helped you with that dress, didn't I?
Yes, because my stylus wouldn't work. And I was going nuts trying to get it to move, and eventually it moved.
I'm like, I know that. Don't we have that mouse with a dress? I'm like, no, that's right. I had to make that.
I'm not kidding when I harass you all the time on Facebook. I do.
She harasses me a lot on Facebook. So her stylist was giving her grief.
Yes, it's not moving. How are we doing for time?
Oh, you're good. Show me something else.
Okay, so this is a book I found recently just by chance called Then and Now, and I really love nostalgia, and this is all about what technology used to be like and how it's been replaced. So they've got this old phone system, and now we have a cell phone instead. I use this for TH, so that was then, this is now. So I can get kids to use the TH in a longer sentence, and also it's an engaging book and a topic that they like to talk about. And I used your puzzle then to make matches for then and now, so we could cut that out, give that for them for homework, and they could practice the same words that we had done in the session and use that for homework using your puzzle.
Very nice. I see some other pictures in there.
You
as
added
well.
you added a car there.
Oh yeah, I think I had to find some. Some weren't in the system, and I don't think I had time to ask you to make it for me.
Okay. But I think you need a hot rod, an old hot rod.
Yeah, look at the fax machine.
And
I see.
we have a fax machine.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
You don't even know. You just drew them. What do you know?
So then going on with the puzzle, I just discovered your 3-piece puzzles.
Yep.
And that was perfect for what I was doing last week. So I have a couple of kiddos who were working through the social thinking curriculum with, and we were on book 9, which is the size of a problem and the size of a solution, or the size of the reaction compared to the size of the problem, and getting kids to kind of gauge the appropriate reaction for various problems that they could encounter. And it goes in big, medium, and small, medium, and big problems. And for a small problem, there's certain criteria that kids can use to measure it. So the criteria include how much help does a child need to solve the problem, and what would be the appropriate emotional reaction. So let's say I can't find my pencil, no big deal. I can solve that by myself, and I feel calm. I didn't use your happy face because it's still a small problem. I'm a little bit agitated, but I don't need a big or a medium reaction for that. And I love that you had the 3-piece puzzle to work through it. I think what I would add to mine when I'm doing the therapy activities, the one additional contingent in that we talked about with the kids was that a small problem takes a small amount of time to solve. And so I thought about making 3 pieces of paper with a small clock, a medium clock, and a big clock, and then putting the puzzles on the various times. So then we have in our medium problems, what did I create for some medium problems? Medium problem, I'm feeling sick. Lori, I believe this is you. A little bit of help from a grown-up. And this is a medium problem. I'm feeling upset. I'm not feeling great. And so we've got sort of this medium reaction, and then the kids we can cut those out, and then the kids will put those together. And then the last page were some really big problems.
The house is on fire.
House is on fire. And then the measurement of how big the problem is that even grown-ups would need help for a big problem, and a big reaction is appropriate to a big problem. And so, the 3-piece puzzle was fantastic for that.
Out of curiosity, do you generally cut them out and have the kids put them together?
Yes.
Yeah.
So everything I'm showing you today, everything before the kids come would be cut out. It was just easier for me to manipulate. And
So you did see we added the unlimited number of puzzle pieces, right?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so basically, Lori added one that was the same shape. So you can basically continue to add them on if you want to make like a string of them. So
I love that.
That's in there too. Yeah. I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of those coming up. The other thing I work on quite a bit is, we were talking about getting kids to retell stories, and I do quite a lot with story grammar. Sometimes it's because kids are coming to me with, and we're working on language, and sometimes it's because I'm still working on speech, but at a more sophisticated level, and might as well do it in the context of story grammar since we're working on stories anyway. So this is one of my favorites I love, it's got a lot of ch in here. It's the wolf's chicken stew, and the wolf chases the chicken, but he wants to make a stew. He's always hungry, and this chicken is way too skinny for him. So he decides he's going to feed her, first he feeds her pancakes, she doesn't get fat. He feeds her donuts, she doesn't get fat. He feeds her a big wedding cake, she doesn't get fat. And then he goes and sees it's because all the chicks are eating the food. And I love the story, lots and lots of lots of great sounds in there. And so I used the daily report template.
Right.
It was not intended for this. I have 2 of these. I have two that I work with. And this one, the one I usually do is have about 8 cells on one page, and then have little pictures that go in. It's fine for most kids. The kid I was working with last week, visually the images were too little, so I made this one that has bigger pictures for him. And so on the one side of my page, I wrote when, who, and where. And I know people would rather say who, where, when. I like starting with when because when we're retelling a story, you often start with once upon a time or one day or one night. And I feel like if I start with my when and then get my characters and then get where they were, I'm giving the kids a little guidance to how to start a story. Right. Once there was one day, there was a wolf in the forest, and then we start telling our story. And all of these pictures I've cut out, would have cut out for the kids beforehand. This little tray here from Melissa and Doug's puzzle accompanies me for every session, and the pieces of the crafts go in here. The Melissa and Doug boxes are useless for puzzles because they don't have lids, but they're great for crafts. They're great. They're great as trays for crafts. And so we put the little pieces in there. The kids pick out their pieces, and then we retell the story. First, what happened, and I use the symbol builder when I need like a wolf in the forest, or if I needed the wolf with his different foods. I gave the chicken the bonnet so that she would match the one in the story. And then we put them on and retell the story that way. And it's been great. I do it in groups. I do it one-on-one, and it's very much a go-to for me.
That is fabulous. And that is in the sharing center, right?
This one's in the sharing center. A lot of the stories that I do, I end up Google imaging pictures, and then they're copyright, and then I can't get them in the sharing center. But this particular one, I used all your images, and if I haven't made it public yet, I will.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful. So I really appreciate that. So is there anything we're missing? One more?
One last one.
One more.
Okay, one last one. So, sorry, my battery's running low. Let me just...
Where'd she go?
Here, and right here, I just have to plug my computer in. It's warning me that my battery's low. There we go. We've had enough technical difficulties.
One more thing.
So this is the last thing. So I really like to avoid cutting. I think a lot of us do. And this is a quick way to adapt a dice game if you don't want to cut out a dice. It's from your, I think it might be a schedule.
That's a checklist schedule.
The checklist schedule. And you can put whatever you want. So I use this for question. I needed to help a child with question formulation. So he would roll a dice, and if he landed on what, he would have to ask me, what does your character do? I had a little baggie with a bunch of characters that would be familiar to the child, like Superman and Minion or whatever. And he was quizzing me, like he would be asking me questions to find out who I was holding. So what does your character do? Or he'd roll, let's say if we roll a 5.
Did you put dots in the checkbox fields?
So I put dots in the checkbox field. So then we use it with a dice, and then I don't have to cut and paste and create a whole dice. I just use my regular dice and can put whatever I want in there. So
that's pretty cool.
That is a requested template that's in development. Something like that with the dice.
With the dice
and the pictures. But I love how you just got creative.
Everybody can use dots. Everybody can add dots. I don't care if anybody says they can draw. You can add
Even
dots to make. Even I can make dice. So
awesome.
that's awesome. That is absolutely fabulous. And that way you don't have to cut it out. They roll a regular die.
And then do they answer a question based on the die that they roll?
For this particular child, he was asking me for another one. We could get the other. I've used it for, let's say if we're working on fluency, you need kids to use different strategies. So I'll make one that says full breath, one that says easy onset, and then whatever sentence they're going to say, they need to use whatever they rolled, for example. But it's really limitless. Whatever you're working on, you can adapt that.
That's
Very
awesome.
Nice.
That is awesome. Well, listen, that is fabulous, Tali, and thank you for sharing with us. You can come back anytime you want.
Thank you so much. You know, I rely on you for pretty much every session. There's LessonPix in almost every one of my sessions.
That's great.
I love it.
That's wonderful. So let's see if we still have Brenda and Juanita. Are you guys still there? I see Brenda. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Juanita.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? So
Hi.
thank you all.
I learned so much today.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I have, and I be even more of an engineer. I have to learn this stuff from scratch. But, everybody we have in the Zoom chat is just saying thank you, and it's awesome. So I don't have any questions for you, but I will ask if I don't have. I think I have all of your usernames, so I can figure out the link to your sharing center site. I'm going to add them. If there's anything that you want to make public that you can, please feel free to do that in the next day or so. People will be joining you, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I am really sorry about the technical difficulties on Facebook. I will crop off the beginning of that and edit this down a little bit.
Post it tonight.
Post it tonight. It'll be about 45 minutes. It might be more than that because I'm gonna go to dinner.
Okay.
But it'll be tonight. It'll be posted tonight, and it will be a hit because this is a great episode. Episode, is that the right thing? Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a great show and tell, and I really appreciate you guys doing this. I hope you guys get all, and those of you watching get something out of this. We are going to continue this through May. Yes?
Yes, just
But
for
not-
a couple more weeks, and then we're off for the
Right.
summer.
We're not going to do Memorial Day. And then we're going to take some time off in the summer. We'll do some live streams, but not weekly, but we will start it again when everybody goes back to school
in August.
in August, probably
That's
early to mid-August. We're not going to take all of August off.
Okay.
What time, when do you guys go back in Georgia?
July, last week of July.
The last week in July? Oh, that's
July.
crazy.
Wow.
And Tali, what about you?
September here. No complaints here.
September.
Move to Canada.
All right. Last week in July. That's brutal. Hopefully you're out now.
Almost 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks. All right. Wow.
Okay.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys
We did
joining
give out
us.
a prize.
Thanks for having us.
We did. We gave out a prize tonight. I should say so. So,
Yes.
and it is for Brenda. Brenda, you took the Augmentative Resources $50 gift certificate. So I hope you enjoy that. I'm sure Cheryl will love it. And Juanita is a big fan of Aug Resources, but she thinks she's too addicted to take a gift certificate. That sound right?
Yeah, I can't just stop it at that.
I'll probably be the same way.
Yeah. And Tali, if you've never seen it, augresources.com is a great site. And I want to thank Cheryl for donating that.
Her gift certificate.
And
That's
the
wonderful.
other 2 of you are getting awesome T-shirts.
We are.
Like
I'm
Lori's.
excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Not my boring one, but her great one.
Pretty
with
one,
the-
yes.
I like pictures, right? So, all right, we're good, right?
Yes.
All right, so everybody who watched, thank you for your patience tonight. I'm sorry we went a little bit long, and
It was worth it.
I will turn in my complaint to our service provider on this one. But we will see you next week, Monday.
Next Monday.
And
same
we have
time, 7
guests. Do we
o'clock.
know who our guests are?
We do?
Do you know it off the top of your head?
No.
Okay, we have guests set up for next week, and they'll be awesome. Okay,
Well,
thank you, ladies,
Thank
and
you.
I appreciate it.
Thank
See
you.
you later.
Bye.
Bye.